Hi guys, welcome to Optical Armory. Right, in this episode, which in my eyes is a very special one for me, and hopefully a lot of you out there as well, I'm going to be doing a review and a bit of testing on the new Sidewinder ED. First impressions of the scope, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, yeah, it's a lot more price wise than a lot of the other Hawke scopes that I've been buying. Obviously I've got the older Sidewinder model, and I know that a lot of the new Sidewinders are still sort of like just under £400 roughly, but so this one's considered as sort of like, people are like, well, how can they just double the price? But honestly, the scope is so fantastic. I can clearly see why they have done that, and how it is going to be a massive contender to the scopes on the market, such as the Zeiss and the Leopold, which will set you back up to excess of £3,000 plus. So that's what they're aiming for. You know, they're finally sort of pushing scopes out that are directly for the rimfire, centrefire market, and I think this one's absolutely perfect for that. It's going to hit all the boundaries that I want to need it to, and hopefully a lot of guys out there will see that Hawke are finally sort of pushing scopes out there, not just basically for air rifle, but for all other genres of shooting, including centrefire, right up until, you know, I'm gonna have this on my, I'm gonna give this a run for its money on my 243. Sitting on top of my HMR for now, because obviously I want to try and do a bit of long range shooting, and this rifle is fantastic for that. So stay tuned. I'm going to do, like I say, I'm going to go through all the spec, and hopefully you get a good sort of feel for the scope and understand what it's all about. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. So as you can see, Hawke Sidewinder ED. I'm going to start at the back end of the scope just to sort of like give you a few pointers and just try and cover all the details and spec of the product, to be honest with you, just so you can try and obviously understand why it is now Hawke's most expensive scope. And in my own opinion, I do believe that it is a good price for how good the scope actually is. So what I'll do, I'll start at the back end of the scope and just to have a general chat about the rest of the build of the scope and what it's capable of doing. So starting at the back end of the scope, we've got the high power magnification right up to 50 times zoom. I've tested this right out up until 50 times magnification, and obviously I've tried it with the side focus with the parallax system, and it's still unbelievably clear. Clarity's unreal even at full mag. Once you get the sharpness pitched right with the parallax and side focus, the image is as clear as it would be at say 10 yards prior to focusing it in with the parallax. So then with this scope, they've put in what they call a coil with a Rector Spring. So at the back end, where the lens is etched with the TMS reticle, it basically, what the spring does, it holds the zero throughout the whole time. It's zero to that position, so it's never going to relax, it's never going to flatten out with use. It's just going to continuously stay zeroed. Even if you knock the scope around, that erector coil spring in there basically should hold that to zero no matter what. So to me, that's a fantastic selling point alone, because obviously, you know, I see so many posts with guys saying, oh, you know, I've only just zeroed up and I've put the gun away, got it back out, and I've got to re-zero it again. That's possibly because after a couple of little knocks, etc., the scope loses the zero. But with this, that's not going to happen. And obviously, if it does, with regards to the sort of the lifetime warranty, etc., on this, then obviously Hawke would sort that problem out for you. So then, yeah, we're going to move on to the ED glass throughout the scope. Obviously, you've got the lens at the front, then down at the back, they've got the ED glass in this, which stands for extra load dispersion, and basically that is for ultimate clarity and sharpness, which is obviously very crucial when using high magnification, because like I was just saying, you want to be able to get the image crystal clear over any desired range that you want to use the scope at. The general build of this scope is just really something special. I mean, you've got the 30mm monotube on this, which is machined out of a solid billet of aluminium, also using high grade alloys, and that's basically used for the strength of the metal, obviously regards to sort of like mounting scope, putting the mounts on. Obviously just the general build of the scope needs to be as strong as possible to obviously not interfere with the internals of the scope. So this is all built out of one solid billet of aluminium. The scope itself is extremely hard wearing. I haven't had it long, so I couldn't tell you whether this is how hard wearing it actually is, but it's anti-scratch. Now I can't remember whether I've seen that on any of the other Hawke scopes, but I mean, if it is anti-scratch, then obviously that's going to be a godsend for when you're out in the sort of woodlands, etc. Sort of when you're, you know, obviously at a higher risk of maybe a branch or something scraping across the scope, because obviously not everybody just uses their rifle as in field when it's a bit more out in the open. So anti-scratch paint. You've got obviously the threaded objective for the sunshade, which I've already mounted on there, which I personally prefer. I think it gives it a lovely long sleek look. So then with each lens throughout this is multi-coated as well now. You've got 18 layers to be precise, giving maximum clarity, sharpness and reducing the flare, which basically creates as well a nice highlight transmission through the whole scope down to the eyepiece, which also on the inside of this through the scope it's anti-reflective, so basically no light's going to be able to beam through there and reflect off of any parts through there to reach you back at the eyepiece. But I've tested this out. The glass is ridiculously clear in this. I mean, I'm a massive fan of the sidewinder prior to this one, and I'm still extremely happy with the sidewinder, don't get me wrong, but this is steps up another level, to be honest with you. Now obviously I want to try and get onto a point about with this scope and the frontier as well, that a lot of people are now associating the Hawke scopes with air rifles, but I would like to try and, like, my aim at the minute, because I've just got my FAC, so I've obviously started to use these on the FAC rifles. I want to try and get the point across that these aren't just built for air rifle, because 90% of the users that do buy a Hawke scope do mount them on an air rifle. Then obviously, so if people do then decide to sort of like do their FAC, they then maybe decide to try and buy a Zeiss or a Leopold scopes, when Hawke really are capable of doing exactly the same job for a fraction of the price. So that is one of my objectives of this scope. So yeah, that's a few of the little pointers. The general build of the scope is absolutely fantastic. Like I said before, sleek, love it with the sunshade on the end. The build of the scope, the anti-scratch paint. We've got the 18 layered multi-coated lenses throughout the scope for maximum light projection and clarity. So yeah, that's a few little key pointers. I'll move on to a few other bits once I get throughout the review. I'm just going to have a little explanation with regards to the turrets on there. Now, there are removable turrets now. So simple to do. There's 3 available. Obviously the ones that they're supplied with, which are the 1 3/4 MOA, and then you can get the 1/8 and the 1/10. Basically, obviously they're what they're aiming for, like I was saying before, with regards to the long range shooting, rimfire, centerfire rifles. I want to be able to give guys the option to obviously change their minute of angle, so therefore there's different turrets available. I believe that they're roughly priced around $89.99. As you see, it was just dead easy to remove. Obviously then once you want to put it back on, get back into the same position what you had it in before, and then it's just a matter of doing the thread back up. And voila, then if you was to unlock the ring there at the end, then you're good to go to get your clicks back. Once you lock it out, the clicks are unable to be moved. I just wanted to say, because I didn't know if I said in the last piece as well with regards to the reticle in this, it's red only. You've got the control here on the back on, and then the brightness control. I've tested this out at night and it's lovely and clear and sharp. Obviously once you focus it in, focus the sidewinder in, absolutely cracking TMX reticle. The first time I've actually had a scope with that, so I'm still learning about it myself, but slowly getting there and really enjoying it, to be honest, because I've always used the 1/2 mil dot. So yeah, hopefully you'll understand a bit more about the turrets as we move on, and then I'll try and explain to you a little bit with regards to the other ones available. So obviously I've had a little bit of a run through with a few of the pointers and stuff, so I'm going to have a few test shots with it, do a bit of footage through the lens to show you what that's like. Hopefully I can justify the quality of the image through the eyepiece, through my recording, the way I record it. Obviously it's going to come across slightly less clear and the clarity is not going to be as sharp as what it is looking directly through the lens, but just to give you a rough idea of what the zoom's like on this, and obviously once you then focus it up with the side focus. So yeah, we'll pull off a few shots. I'll put a target up. I want to put it up at around 100 yards just so you can get a feel for the scope, and obviously if you're going to sit it on top of a rimfire, what to expect. Obviously with the HMR you can go out to silly distances. Myself, I don't really take it over 150 yards, just purely because it's just, I've never really done too much of long range shooting, so I mean this is still going to be fantastic for that distance, and even more so for the guys that do the long range shooting. So yeah, I'll have a little bit of footage through the lens and we'll take it from there. So I've just measured myself out to 100 yards. Just gonna have a double check. It's sitting on bang on 100 yards from here. So I'm gonna have a little bit of target practice through the ED with the HMR. I'm using the 17 grain VMAX on the D. Having a bit of trouble getting the rounds for these in a minute, so it's sort of like hit and miss with what ones I'm using, so I'm varying between these and the Winchester and the Remington. So yeah, it's sort of, it'd be nice to kind of stick to one sort of round so I know what I'm using through this and what is better to zero up to. So that's what I'm using. So like I say, I'm at 100 yards. I'm going to take a few shots and get a bit of footage through the back end of the scope, and then hopefully get a few rabbits as well with a bit of footage for that as well through it. Now I'm hoping that the clarity and the image quality is projected through this as well as it is to the eye, so I'm hoping it is similar to the camera lens. I very much doubt it's going to be, but we'll give it a shot just to try and give you an idea of how clear this really is. I mean, this is only at 100 yards, but at this permission that I'm at now, to be honest, there's not many other safe backdrops past sort of 120 yards, so I could take it out another 20 yards, but 100 yards, feel really safe with this one. I've got a safe backdrop over the back here, so yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. So as you can see, I've got the scope cam on the back, so it's not perfect, but it's all I can make do with it at the minute, to be fair. So yeah, you can see this is on 32 times zoom. I mean, I don't really want to move it too much because it fiddles around with the camera settings, but so that's at 50 times zoom, or sorry, 44 times zoom at 100 yards. We'll go back out to 32. So I'm trying to keep my camera in focus as well. absolutely clear as day, this. I mean, you're probably not getting the full benefit of it, but you know, it's hard. It's the camera struggling to keep hold of the lock on the reticle and film at the same time. Trying to focus it in. If you sort of parallax and blur it out, come back in. That's too far. So yeah, you're kind of getting the gist of the. Oh, there we are. So yeah, that's the TMX Reticle. Absolutely fantastic. Give it a little go with the illumination. It only picks it up when it's on full brightness. But this at night looks fantastic. I've already given it a little try on a few bunnies. And obviously you've got so many sort of like aim points on this, and the windage meters, etc. These are all set out at 1/2 mil dots. So then obviously once you get your ranges done with your laser rangefinder or whatever it is you're using, I don't know, just to let you know that the rifle's not loaded. And this is why I was saying that it's not safe, really too safe here for my backdrop, because there's horses right down the bottom here. So yeah, I'll do a bit of footage of hopefully getting a couple of rabbits, but this is just sort of like a rough sort of like guide to what to expect from this 100 yards and through a camera that's losing focus. But it is so clear. Stay tuned for hopefully a few headshots. Right guys, so I'm going to try and do a 5-shot group through the ED. About 100 yards. That's quite hard for me to film this. And keep it on a good group, to be honest, but it's only a demonstration, so don't take this as gospel that this is how bad I shoot. Right, I'll go and grab the target, do a little bit of footage of it, see a few for a minute. Zoomed out a bit on my phone to try and focus it a bit better, but don't look too shabby for how hard this is. But yeah, it's just basically to try and give you a rough idea. As you can see, the camera seems so much clearer when it's zooming right out, and obviously that's what it's like when you're looking through the scope. Absolutely clear as day. Pop that Reticle on. Absolutely awesome that is. The TMX. I mean, look at the aim points you've got. The 1/2 mil dot spacers for long range shooting. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, anyway, I'll go and get that, take a couple of pictures for you to see just what the grouping was like. 100 yards, 32 times zoom, and like I say, hopefully we'll have a couple of rabbits. Right, so that's a grouping I just done at 100 yards. Obviously that's the mount that I've made. It's a homemade mount, so to be honest, it's not ideal, but it's a good way for me to get a bit of footage. No, that's just a phone case glued onto a plumber's end of the sink cap, and that was an old eye relief that I've cut down to fit that into. So yeah, not ideal, but got 3 rounds. Obviously 2's gone through here, and you've got this one, and obviously 2 wobblers. But I mean, at 100 yards, it's going to be a kill. Not the best groupings, but like I say, it's just a demonstration for what I'm aiming at over there. And this little troublesome pony. I'd like to say as well, no horses were killed in the making of this video. Well, not this one anyway. So yeah, anyway, that's the grouping, 100 yards, off a little fiddle with a 0. Quite happy with these 3 shots, considering how much movement I had, trying to focus in and keep the camera steady, etc. So yeah, rabbit time. Right then guys, so just coming to the end of the review. I've tried to cover all corners, but I mean, to be honest, I'm still learning a hell of a lot about this scope myself, so if there's anything I missed off, I'm sorry. I know that I haven't gone too in depth with the turret system because I'm still learning about it myself, so I will study it a bit more, and I will try and get a bit more information up on like sort of videos that are going to be coming up. I'm going to obviously take it out and use it a bit more in the field, so hopefully have a good bit of footage for the sort of rabbits and foxes on some of the permissions that I've got. But the overview of the scope is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I know that I say that a hell of a lot with other stuff that I've previously reviewed, but honest, hand on heart, this scope is without doubt one of the best scopes that I have used to date. Just a general feel of the scope, you know, the side wheel, turret system, zoom. I'm loving the TMX Reticle because that's the first time I've ever used that on a rifle scope as well, so I'm still getting to grips with that myself. All the different aim points, obviously got the built-in sort of like for the windage and stuff, so it's all quite new to myself, so I want to try and cover a bit more of that in a few upcoming videos. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the review. Sorry if I've missed anything off, but stay tuned for more and hopefully we'll get it all covered. Cheers guys.